A special thanks to the Wonderful Company and Kern County Superintendent of Schools for their generous donations toward Bakersfield Symphony education programming. Hello, I'm Kendra Green, Director of Education Engagement with the Bakersfield Symphony, and today I'd like to introduce you to Joaquin Rodrigo. Rodrigo was a Spanish composer born in Valencia, Spain in November of 1901. When he was 3 years old, he got sick and went blind, which undoubtedly made his life more difficult in many, many ways, but he didn't seem to let that slow him down. He began learning music, studying piano and violin at 8 years old, and began learning how to compose when he was 16. Now, since he was blind, Rodrigo was unable to write music by hand the way that most people would. So Rodrigo wrote all of his music in Braille, which is a writing system made up of raised bumps that blind people can feel in order to read. He wrote his music in Braille, and when he completed a piece, he would read it out loud to a copyist, who then wrote it down in regular music notation. Fantasia para un gentilhombre, which means Fantasia for a gentleman, is a guitar concerto, which means it was written for solo classical guitar with orchestra accompaniment. Rodrigo wrote it for guitarist Andres Segovia, who premiered the piece with the San Francisco Symphony in 1954. The piece has 4 movements, and each movement is based on a traditional Spanish dance that was originally written down by Spanish guitarist and composer Gaspar Sanz. Now, it might seem like Rodrigo is just stealing all of Sanz's work, but that's not quite true. He took the melodies, which he freely attributes to Sanz, and he created his own original work out of them. Movement 1, Viano y Resecar. This movement opens with the Viano, a Spanish dance from the 17th century. It's a lively, happy, sunshiny tune. Listen for the woodwinds here, the flute, oboe, and bassoon. They're featured pretty prominently with the guitar. The orchestra then transitions to the Resecar, which is a fugue. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, a fugue is similar to a round. You have a melody that's played by one section or one part, and then another section comes in with that same melody later on while the first section is still playing. And then another section comes in with the same melody a little bit later. And even though everybody is still playing the whole time, you hear every time that melody makes its entrance. The really cool thing about this particular fugue is that the guitar is playing 2 parts of the fugue all by itself. And it sounds as though there are 2 guitars playing, even though clearly there is only one. Movement 2, Españoleta y Fanfaria de la Caballería de Nápoles. The title to this movement translates to Españoleta and Fanfare for the Cavalry of Naples. The Españoleta is a sort of melancholy song. It makes me think of someone singing sorrowfully to themselves all alone somewhere. Now, that's just my own association. When you're listening, try closing your eyes and seeing what the music reminds you of. The Españoleta is played at the beginning and end of the movement. The middle section is the much livelier Fanfare for the Cavalry of Naples. The feel of the movement completely changes for this middle section. Suddenly the music is chordal rather than melodic, which means that instead of picking up another melody, the music consists of notes played at the same time, perhaps imitating the hoofbeats of the cavalry as they approach battle. Listen for the actual fanfare played by the trumpets and the woodwinds. Movement 3, Danza de las Hachas. Danza de las Hachas translates to Dance of the Axes. This dance was traditionally performed with dancers carrying torches rather than axes. Sounds pretty intense, right? Now, hold that thought, but combine it with Renaissance dinner music, and that pretty much sums up the third movement. Movement 4, Canario. A canario is a folk dance from the Canary Islands, and it's a fun, lively expression of joy and movement. Listen for the guitar and the strings trading the melody back and forth, and occasionally joining forces to play it together. Also listen for the trumpet solo. Our soloist for this performance is Mac Gergich. Mac is originally from Slovenia, but currently resides in the United States and is a two-time Grammy-nominated performer. He's played all over the world as a soloist and chamber performer, as well as recording a number of albums, including some on reef-fretted guitars for an entirely new sound. We are excited to hear his interpretation of the Fantasia para un gentilhombre. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the piece, the composer, Joaquin Rodrigo, and our soloist, Matt Gergich, and we look forward to seeing you at the performance.